I've been working in the children's section of the library for 7 years now. Wednesday's story time is still my favorite part of the week. Every time I see the children's eyes light up, I know I made the right career choice. Hey, Miss Grace. What story are you going to read next? When the children ask me this, I respond with a gentle smile. There's always a warm atmosphere in the children's corner of Cambridge Public Library. I love this place, where the scent of old wood mingles with the smell of new books. My colleagues describe me as patient. Indeed, my ability to maintain a smile all day while dealing with energetic children might be part of my natural disposition. But it's not an act at all. The time I spend with the children brings me pure joy. My name is Grace Anderson, and I'm 34 years old. I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with my husband Daniel and our 6-year-old son Noah. People call me a modest beauty. True, my slim figure and refined features might be traits inherited from my mother. However, I consider my ability to treat everyone equally, without discrimination, to be my greatest strength. Our house is in a quiet residential area, about a 10-minute drive from Harvard University. The gray 2-story home is so well maintained it's hard to believe it's 10 years old. The large maple tree in front of our entrance changes its expression with each season, delighting us with pale green leaves in spring and blazing red foliage in autumn. From our large living room window, we can see neighborhood children playing. This area has wonderful community spirit. Our next-door neighbors, the Johnsons, are retired teachers who dote on Noah as if he were their own grandson. The Rodriguez family across the street has children the same age as ours, and they often play together. In our backyard, we have a permanent barbecue set that Daniel maintains on his days off. Weekend barbecue parties with neighborhood families have become a tradition. A white picket fence gently encircles the yard, watching over these gatherings. The lawn is always perfectly maintained, with tulips blooming in spring and lavender flourishing in summer. I'm home. Just after 5:30 in the evening, Noah returns from school with an energetic voice. He's a first grader at the public elementary school, an active boy who excels in math and science. He belongs to the local Little League baseball team and eagerly looks forward to weekend practice. In his baseball uniform, he looks like a tiny major leaguer. He's well liked by his teammates and always wears a smile. Mom, guess what? I got a perfect score on my math test today. Noah's cheeks flush with joy. His pure smile always warms my heart. He always starts his homework right after dinner and tries hard to write neatly. His conscientious side makes us proud as parents. Around 7 p.m., Daniel returns home. He works as a project manager at Microsoft, having steadily built his career after graduating from Stanford Graduate School. Thanks to his comfortable annual income of $150,000, we're able to maintain a stable lifestyle. Daniel's work ethic is highly regarded by his colleagues. Although he sometimes works late when project deadlines approach, he never fails to prioritize family time. He always attends Noah's baseball games on weekends and makes time for us. Sorry I'm late again today. When Daniel comes home saying this, his expression always shows a mixture of slight remorse and abundant love. He deeply respects his parents and brother and values family above all else. Even when he's troubled by work issues, he tries not to show his anxiety to the family. Daniel and I met 8 years ago at Stanford Graduate School. I had come to California to study library science. We happened to sit next to each other in a general education class, and that was our first encounter. It was early September, at the beginning of the fall semester, and I still vividly remember meeting him in the soft sunlight streaming through the window. "Do you like books?" That was our first conversation during a break, when he showed interest in the book I was reading. We began having study dates at the library, and naturally, our relationship evolved into romance. I gradually fell for his sincere personality and intellectual conversation. After dating for a year, we decided to get married. The proposal happened at Stanford University's library. In the courtyard visible from the classroom where we first met, Daniel nervously presented me with a ring. I clearly remember meeting my in-laws for the first time at our wedding. My parents-in-law were passionate about education, particularly my mother-in-law Elizabeth, who had served as principal of a private high school. She was strict yet warm-hearted and welcomed me like her own daughter. My brother-in-law Matthew worked at a local bank and had a serious personality, while his wife Rebecca was cheerful by nature. I made a commitment to cherish my relationship with this new family. I never miss our monthly family dinners and always make sure to choose thoughtful gifts for my in-laws' birthdays and anniversaries. I especially enjoy conversations with my mother-in-law about education, which bring me great joy. We were living happily in these peaceful days, finding joy in daily small events and overcoming minor worries together. I believed this life would continue forever. The aroma of dinner wafting from the kitchen, the sound of family laughter in the living room, Noah's peaceful breathing from his bedroom, all these were my treasures. Until that day came. The first Sunday of each month is the Anderson family dinner day. Today, as usual, our family and my brother-in-law's family are gathered at my in-laws' spacious mansion. Entering through the front door, we're greeted by an elegant living room decorated in white. On the walls hang commendations from when my father-in-law Robert worked as a cardiac surgeon, and photographs from the high school where my mother-in-law Elizabeth served as principal. Below these are photos of Matthew and Daniel from their student days. Looking at the brothers' pictures side by side, they share similar gentle expressions, yet somehow give different impressions. My brother-in-law Matthew works as a deputy branch manager at a local bank. His serious and reserved personality is considered ideal for a banker by those around him. "Hey, Grace. Thanks for coming today." Matthew's expression is always calm when he greets me. However, I sense something dark lurking behind his eyes. This darkness seems to intensify especially when Daniel talks about his promotions at Microsoft. On the other hand, Matthew's wife Rebecca is like sunshine personified. While being a full-time housewife raising 2 children, she also runs a small tutoring class from home. I hear she teaches English to neighborhood children, and her reputation is excellent. "Grace, I tried a new recipe today. Let me know what you think later." Rebecca's cheerful voice echoes through the room. Her sociable personality seems to complement Matthew's introverted nature. My brother-in-law's children, 10-year-old Emily and 8-year-old Jason, often play with Noah. Emily has inherited her mother's bright personality and takes classical ballet lessons. Jason has his father's cautious nature but rivals Noah in baseball, pushing each other to improve. "Noah, let's play over there." "Yay!" I'll show you my new baseball cards. While the children's energetic voices ring out, my father-in-law Robert sits in his usual armchair, drinking coffee. A former cardiac surgeon at Boston General Hospital, he still works as a part-time physician twice a week after retirement. This attitude sometimes seems less like passion for medicine and more like an attachment to social status. Daniel, how's work going? Any progress on that new project you mentioned? My father-in-law's voice carries a mixture of expectation and pride. Everyone in the family must notice his special affection for his second son, Daniel. He takes genuine pride in his son who graduated from Stanford Graduate School and achieved success in the IT industry. Beside him, my mother-in-law Elizabeth subtly keeps an eye on Matthew. As a former private high school principal with deep insight into education, she's a gentle yet strong-willed woman. Matthew, how are things at the bank? I hear the economy is gradually improving. Mother-in-law's question reveals her maternal concern for her eldest son's financial situation. She seems worried about the economic disparity that has developed between her two sons. The food on the table is always prepared jointly by my mother-in-law and Rebecca. Traditional roast beef with seasonal vegetables, these warm, home-cooked meals have become part of the Anderson family memories. Everyone, let's eat. At my mother-in-law's call, the whole family gathers around the dining table. The silverware gleaming against the white tablecloth represents the family's pride, passed down through generations. On the surface, it's a picture of perfect family harmony. However, the occasional glances and emotions hidden in words suggest something more complex. Particularly Matthew's reserved attitude seems to stem from something deeper than just his personality. Brother, I heard your recent proposal was well received. Daniel reaches out to his brother with care in his voice. Matthew responds with just a faint smile. His expression reveals complicated feelings toward his younger brother. Family dinners always last about 3 hours. Before we leave, mother-in-law never fails to confirm next month's plans. It's not just a habit, but rather a ritual to affirm family bonds. See you next month. Please take care. We nod at mother-in-law's words as we leave. As we get into the car, I thought I caught a glimpse of my brother-in-law's vacant expression in the rearview mirror. Surely, it was just my imagination. At least, that's what I chose to believe at the time. On a mild Saturday in May, our backyard was bustling from early morning. Today is Noah's 6th birthday party. I had been checking the weather forecast frequently since the day before, and fortunately, the sky is clear. Shall we put the balloons here? Rebecca suggests, holding blue and white helium balloons. She had been helping with decorations since the previous day. Under the white party tent, blue tablecloths are already laid out, adorned with sparkling star decorations. Yes, that's perfect. They're Noah's favorite colors. As I respond, Rebecca calls Emily and Jason to help arrange the balloons. The children run around happily, helping to decorate the yard. Surprisingly, Matthew seems the most enthusiastic. He volunteered to arrange the cake this time. My usually reserved brother-in-law had specially ordered a cake from a renowned patisserie in the city, saying, "It's a special day. Don't worry. I'll take responsibility for getting the perfect cake." I was truly grateful for those words. It was rare to see my usually reserved brother-in-law so proactive. Surely it came from a genuine desire to celebrate his nephew's birthday. Daniel was in charge of setting up the yard. With his meticulous personality, he checked everything from the safety of play equipment to preparing the barbecue grill. I was in the kitchen preparing finger foods that I knew the children would enjoy. We invited about 30 guests, family members, Noah's school friends and their families, and close neighbors. Since moving to this neighborhood, we've maintained excellent relationships with our neighbors, who gladly accepted our party invitation. "Mom, are my friends coming soon?" Throughout the morning, Noah keeps asking excitedly. Dressed in his new baseball uniform, his eyes sparkle with the joy of celebrating his birthday. At 2 p.m., the first guests arrive. My in-laws, Robert and Elizabeth, appear more dressed up than usual. Especially my mother-in-law seems genuinely excited about her grandson's birthday. "Happy birthday, Noah. This is a special present from Grandma." The package my mother-in-law presents contains a high-end telescope. Noah's eyes light up, he loves science. As more guests arrive, the backyard fills with laughter. Children play on the equipment while adults chat under the party tent. Several of my library colleagues have come too, creating circles of pleasant conversation. "Everyone, please gather around. It's cake time." At 3 p.m., Matthew proudly brings out the cake. The three-tiered masterpiece is designed with a baseball theme, beautifully decorated with deep blue icing and white stars. "Wow, amazing!" The children cheer. Noah is particularly excited, his eyes shining. "Happy birthday to you." As everyone joins in singing, Noah beams with happiness while the candle flames flicker in the breeze. I wished this moment could last forever. Everyone applauds warmly as Noah blows out the candles. Matthew cuts the cake, with the first piece naturally going to Noah. "Looks delicious." Noah happily takes his first bite. That's when it happened. "Huh." With a faint sound, Noah's expression suddenly clouds over. The next moment, he collapses. "Noah!" My scream echoes through the yard. Foam starts coming from my son's mouth, and his whole body begins convulsing violently. Screams erupt from the crowd, and the party instantly descends into chaos. "An ambulance! Someone call an ambulance!" Daniel shouts desperately. My father-in-law Robert immediately rushes to Noah's side, beginning emergency treatment with a doctor's calm judgment. He's conscious. But this is... My father-in-law's expression grows severe. I could only hold my son's hand with trembling fingers. Someone calls an ambulance, and sirens approach. As party decorations sway in the wind, my son continues to breathe with difficulty. I never imagined this special day would end like this. My mind went blank, and all I could do was keep calling my son's name. "Noah! Noah!" With sirens wailing, we headed to Boston Children's Hospital. In the back seat, holding Noah's hand tightly, I prayed desperately. Through tear-blurred eyes, I watched the paramedics administering medical treatment. Seizures continuing. Consciousness level dropping. My heart constricts at each call from the paramedics. Upon reaching the hospital, Noah is immediately rushed to the emergency room. The sound of the stretcher racing down the white hallway still echoes in my ears. Daniel fills out necessary paperwork, occasionally looking up at the ceiling with deep sighs. Noah, hang in there. As I whisper these words outside the treatment room, my father-in-law Robert quietly responds. I used to work at this hospital. They have the best medical team. Let's trust them and wait. Though his words carried strength, even the former cardiac surgeon's face showed unusual concern. Family members gather at the hospital one after another. My mother-in-law Elizabeth embraces my shoulders, while Rebecca sits quietly in a corner of the waiting room with Emily and Jason. And Matthew, only he seems restless, pacing back and forth across the waiting room. Mrs. Anderson. A young resident approaches us. A stethoscope peeks out from his white coat pocket. We have the initial test results. Dr. Thompson, the chief of emergency, will explain in detail. Please come to the treatment room. At these words, Daniel and I exchange glances. During the hours of emergency testing, none of us had spoken a word. The clock hands seemed to move unnaturally slowly. Around 8 p.m., Dr. Thompson enters the room with the test results. His name tag gleams under the fluorescent lights. He appears to be in his mid-50s, an experienced physician. His quiet demeanor conveys the tension of someone about to deliver serious news. Dr. Thompson slowly takes a seat. His movements suggest the weight of what he's about to say. Mrs. Anderson. He looks straight into my eyes and presents a test result. His hand appears to tremble slightly. Do you understand what this shows? The doctor's voice echoes in the quiet room. The test result paper shows complex graphs and numbers. My hands shake. Please look at this area marked in red. The section Dr. Thompson points to shows numbers that shouldn't be possible. These are the results of toxicology tests. His words send chills down my spine. We found large amounts of psychotropic drugs in your son's blood. This concentration. The doctor pauses for a moment, choosing his words carefully, then continues, cannot be explained by accident. I'm sorry, but under these circumstances, we must notify the police. At that moment, my knees give way. Daniel leans against the wall, covering his face with both hands. Events moved rapidly after that. Police arrived at the hospital and began their investigation. A room in the severe pediatric ward suddenly became the center of an investigation. Home security camera footage was reviewed, and all party attendees were interviewed. The cake's production process was particularly scrutinized. Every step from ordering at the patisserie to delivery was thoroughly investigated. Then, they began tracking how the drugs were obtained. Veteran Detective Johnson led the investigation. His sharp gaze suggested he had grasped something important. 3 days after the incident, a shocking truth came to light. Matthew Anderson, you are under arrest. The police officer's voice echoes through the hospital hallway. My brother-in-law was arrested as a suspect in the attempted murder of his own nephew. During interrogation, the whole truth emerged. Deep-rooted jealousy toward his brother since childhood. State University versus Stanford, $70,000 versus $150,000 income difference. The disparity in parental affection. Everything had eaten away at his heart. Furthermore, the existence of $500,000 in debt came to light. Liabilities from failed real estate investments. Persistent harassment from debt collectors. Backed into a corner, he made his final, devastating choice. And most shocking was his confession of twisted feelings toward me. From the moment I met Grace at my brother's wedding. In the interrogation room, Matthew kept talking with his head down. My perfect brother got a perfect wife too. I couldn't stand it. Why did Grace, who was kind to everyone, become my brother's wife? At these words, I covered my mouth with trembling hands. I hadn't noticed. Or perhaps I hadn't wanted to notice. My life was always in my brother's shadow. This time, I thought I could finally take something from him. Matthew's final words echoed in the freezing silence. Outside the interrogation room, our family was speechless. Rebecca collapsed to the floor, my mother-in-law silently watched her son, and my father-in-law wiped away tears I'd never seen before. And beside me, Daniel just stared into space. He seemed unable to accept the fact that the brother he had respected since childhood had tried to kill his son. Matthew's trial concluded on a mild spring day. A sentence of 15 years in prison. Our family quietly listened as the verdict was read in court. After the verdict, my father-in-law Robert bowed deeply. The way we treated our sons differently, this result is our responsibility as parents. My mother-in-law Elizabeth nodded slightly at these words. Deep regret showed in both their eyes. Noah's recovery exceeded the doctor's expectations. He was discharged a month after the incident and returned to school 2 months later. Now, no trace of that day's events remains in his smile. Perhaps Daniel suffered the deepest wounds. His beloved brother's betrayal left a great void in his heart. However, his relationship with his parents has grown even deeper than before. Son, let's talk about all the things we never noticed before. Daniel silently nodded at his father's words. It was the beginning of a new parent-child relationship. Maintaining our relationship with Rebecca and her children was our strong desire. Emily and Jason remain as close as ever with their cousin Noah. If anything, their bond seems to have deepened. Grace, I'm truly grateful to have you. I squeezed Rebecca's hand tightly in response to her words. She must be carrying perhaps the deepest pain of all. As we reconsidered what family means, we wove new bonds. Monthly family dinners became occasions for more honest dialogue. My in-laws now treasure their time with their grandchildren above all else, and the children seem to sense this change keenly. Hey, Grace. One day, Daniel spoke to me quietly. I can never forgive my brother. But I think we can create a new kind of family. I nodded silently at his words. Indeed, we can never return to our previous relationship. But perhaps through this ordeal, we learned the true meaning of family. The tragedy of that day will never disappear. Still, we continue walking forward, carrying our wounds. Sometimes we pause and sigh deeply. But each time, someone in the family gently places a hand on our shoulder. I think this is the shape of our family now. 5 years have passed, and we still live in our Cambridge home. The maple tree in the backyard has grown larger, its branches creating richer shade than before. Noah is 11 now. He's the ace pitcher on his middle school baseball team and recently won the district championship. After the game, he ran to us with a beaming smile. My in-laws and Rebecca were among the spectators watching over him. Emily and Jason are growing up well too. Emily is preparing for high school, and Jason won a prize at the regional science fair. The children seem to have grown stronger by overcoming that incident. Daniel recently established a nonprofit organization for IT education. He started teaching programming to underprivileged children. His words, "Everyone should have equal opportunities," carry deep meaning. My father-in-law Robert has fully retired and now volunteers in community healthcare. My mother-in-law Elizabeth works as an education counselor, supporting families with problems. Perhaps they are walking a path of atonement by giving back to society through their experiences. Rebecca earned professional counseling credentials and now works helping families repair their relationships. Her kindness has become a support for many families carrying similar pain. As for me, I started a reading program at the library themed around family bonds. I wanted to create a space where we could think about family relationships through books. I still think about Matthew sometimes. I hear he's participating in rehabilitation programs and receiving psychological counseling in prison. We can't forgive him, but we're no longer trapped by hatred. Maybe that's what we learned from this ordeal. Sometimes, standing in the backyard at dusk, I remember that day. But now, even those memories can be accepted as experiences that have made us stronger. Life sometimes presents us with cruel trials. But through these trials, we learn the true meaning of family. Perfect families don't exist. What's important is acknowledging each other's imperfections and supporting one another as we walk forward. Now, a new season's wind blows outside. The maple leaves sway gently.